Hey guys, welcome back to Snack and Slash, where we tried to get Cunt Butt 2 to work, but this game literally has the most advanced profanity filter
Literally,
of all time.
the fucking Bimbridge scholars couldn't fucking, figure out how to put cunt into this game.
We spaced out every, letter between all the letters.
I did
in
K, V, and T.
And it was
Does
still
not even
nope.
remotely look like cunt, but I was gonna settle for it, and I couldn't fucking settle for it. I had to settle for kint. I was too scared to put a fucking C in there, because every single time the profanity filter fucks up, you have to go back and, turn everything to a fucking space again.
It's awful.
So this is Cunt Buntu's retarded cousin.
Kint Bunt 2.
Fuck.
What have I done?
I don't know, I probably
You gave Panaka white guy hands again?
Fuck! Okay. He deserves them. There's literally no black guy hands as a fucking option.
There is, and it's really
if
fucked
you don't
up.
think racism still exists, then fucking check yourself, because it is alive and well and in the hands of this Lego creator game.
Alright, episode 3, right?
Yeah.
Alright, let's go. Revenge of the Cunt Buntus. Don't worry, Master. Cunt Buntu will be along and saves us just like he always does. Oh shit, son!
Now, see, much like my original cut for Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith also featured a lot of Cunt Buntu. I've had a pretty much finished script with more speaking lines for Cunt Buntu than for all of the rest of the characters altogether in the film. And then my media manager stepped in and he was like, George, you can't put the word cunt in the children's movie. And I said, what are you talking about, Greg? This is one of my characters. This is Star Wars. This is my creation. You can't tell me no. And he said, okay, but just, don't expect good, reviews at the theater if it comes back with an R rating. So I was like, you know what, George? Right, I'll just
You know what, George? You're talking to yourself now, George.
Whatever. I often called him George because it was too hard.
I remember this mission, and I remember not liking it a lot.
It was too hard to remember more than one name, and, I'm the center of my own world, so
So basically, I just started to give every character the name of George. When I originally wrote the script, I wrote the Skywalker family as George and George Skywalker.
And then my media manager, George, was like, George, you can't put this many Georges in one movie.
So then I went to my wife and I said, George, what do I do? And she said, honey, it's your vision, and you have to follow what you believe in, and if you want every character to be George, then so be it. I actually originally called the film George Wars.
George Wars! Which was after, a very lengthy argument with Fox.
George Studios.
With Fox Studios over naming the movie George. They said that the title didn't make any sense. So then I settled for George Wars, and it wasn't until the...
After extensive screening, the audiences said to themselves, I find the severe lack of George in this movie. So I had to settle and name the movie after what I think myself to be, and that would be Star Wars.
It was the next best thing, what am I? I'm a star. So if I couldn't name the movie George Wars, I had to name it Star Wars.
George Kenobi, George Solo, George Baca.
George Baca!
Princess George Organa. George 3PO. R2 George 2.
R2 George 2! Oh my fucking god!
George Solo, one of my true favorites.
Now I knew that I really wanted to
let's
make a
not
ship
forget
that was
Max Jorbo and his Max Jorbo band.
I really wanted to make a ship that was the fastest ship in the galaxy. And
I thought it was going to be called the Millennium George at first.
That's where I was going with that. And I knew that no ship could be faster than a ship titled the Millennium George. So
I had to make it a bit fair. All the original ships, no matter what the shape or size or what they fired, they were all going to be called George Wings. Definitely. They were originally going to be called George Die instead of Jedi.
George
You get me?
Yeah, I knew there was going to be a lot of power in that scene where, you know, Obi-Wan first hands Luke his father's George saber.
I fought in the George Wars alongside your father.
Yeah, the original script reads, your George wanted you to George this when you were George enough.
Your father was killed by an old pupil of mine, George Vader. George die a starfighter?
He was seduced by the dark side of the George.
I was gonna say the George side. The George side of the George.
One of my favorite lines that wound up getting changed was, into the George suit, flyboy.
But after a few test audiences, most people surprisingly came back, and this was a big surprise to me because I thought the original cuts were masterpieces. But they said that having the word George as 2006 times in the film was somehow weird. So I ended up going back, and you know what? I said, fuck it, we're not going to put George in the movie at all. You know, I was pissed off. I replaced every George in the movie with regular words. So, you know, if it were up to me, the original movie would have been George Wars. George
That's
Skywalker, and
that's no moon. That's a George station. I sense a great disturbance in the George, as if millions of Georges cried out in agony and were suddenly silenced. The Death George.
Now, Princess George, you will tell us the location of your hidden George base. The George base is on George Dwayne. Not to be confused with Tata George.
My fire when ready. You can't fire on George Turon.
No, it's Aldo George.
Yeah, you're right. Grand Moff George.
Oh, fuck.
General Georgius. You're much Georgier than I expected. General George!
Aren't you a little not Georgie enough to be a stormtrooper?
George Trooper. Jesus Christ.
A George Trooper?
Super Georges, take him down! Watch those George rockets! The enemy have captured another George post.
Alright, now we're just in the fucking Battlefront. I had a huge influence on the Battlefront series, and
So is it going to be called George Front?
No, I was going to say Battle George. But I guess George Front would make more sense, because then it would get really confusing with the Battle George droids.
Yeah. Super Battle George. Georgia instead of Roger. George.
George Vader. I'm still on that one.
Ironically, I had no input with George of the Jungle. That was... Well,
yeah,
while I appreciate the project, I had nothing to do with it.
You'll find that the EU is home to all types of stories, and
The Yuzong George is one of my favorites.
George of the Jungle is definitely one of my favorites.
Han and Leia's 3 kids, George, and George Solo. Let's not forget how George was seduced to the dark side and killed George.
Now, when I let Timothy Zahn first start up the EU, I had
him change his last name to George for starters.
I had 2 rules. I knew I was going to make the prequels, so I said you can't touch anything that takes place before episode 4. That was off limits. And my second rule was that every character and every 4th word in the book had to be replaced with George.
Grand Admiral George.
And the original working title for Heir to the Empire was actually
Heir to the George.
Heir to the George. Timothy Zahn didn't seem too pleased with this at first, and to this day I still think he was a little happy when it was overruled and ended up naming the book Heir to the Empire. But when I read the book, I still like to take a pen and scribble out every 4th word and just write George.
I take a Sharpie and I cover over his words. And I write George. I write George every time. Star Wars: The George Wars was actually one of my favorite cartoons. Ahsoka Giorgio is definitely one of my favorite characters.
Ahsoka Giorgio!
It's definitely one of my favorite characters, along with Cad George. Yep. And Captain George. And Commander George. Of course, that's not to be confused with George Takei, which we just destroyed on screen just now.
Fun fact, the love affair you see on screen in episode 2 between George Skywalker and George Amidala, it's actually very, very reminiscent of my own first date with my wife, George. And,
Master, do you remember when you fell into that pit of George Darks and I had to save you?
that business on Cater to George, it doesn't count.
Drops in on General Grievous. Hello, George. Don't worry, George will be along to save us just like he always does.
It's over! It's over, George! I have the high, George! I hate George! Where is George? Is she alright? It seems in your anger, you George turn. Oh my fucking god! This is the worst Nuggets Watch episode we've ever filmed. You will not see this in a best of.
You've never seen a more wretched hive of George and villainy. George Isley Cantina.
I was gonna say Moss Georgely, but I guess. Oh fuck!
I have the death sentence on 12 Georges.
I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night and laugh over George
I'm a monster George.
on 12 Georges. Oh fuck! Can't even
George
function.
that one up.
Yeah, can't even function right now.
George.
Oh.
Emperor George Patine. George Windu. Halo secured to Georgia.
Listen, Georgia. Oh. Not to be confused with Anakin's slave owners to Georgia. Don't completely different character, no relation.
George though instead of Watto.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Sebulba wasn't the slave owner. That was the fucking like enemy racer. Fuck that. I'm gonna hear George now. Oh, and Anakin.
No.
Oh. George Tatine.
Good, Anakin. Good. Now kill him.
My
George
Georges
it.
have doubled since the last time we met Count.
No, I shouldn't. It's not the George way.
Leave him, George. We'll never make it. His George will be the same as ours.
You gonna attack him? Okay, cool.
I'm sorry, I was trying.
You were Georging and you knew it.
Yeah. I feel like character studs mean we drop more. Because we've been dropping like 6 blue coins a death.
Me.
Yeah, YOLO, right?
Yeah, you only George once. Live and let George. I know if I can get this power up, this boss fight is just over. It's cool, I didn't like attacking him or anything around. It's fine.
The blue
It's fine.
coin!
He's shocking my dick right off my body, you don't even care.
That was a blue coin, alright? I don't know.
Get your head out of your George.
Sorry. Sorry, George. I remember when I was...
Oh, great job, George. He went completely the other way.
I remember when I was writing this scene, I was at my home on George Walker Ranch, and my mailman came up the walkway. He said, "Hey George, I have a package." And I said, "Hey George, thanks for bringing my package." And I opened it, and it was just a severed head from one of my fans. And that really gave me the idea of,
Can I be Palpatine?
of George cutting off Count George's head.
I am George Patine.
And I looked down at the two model George sabers I had on my desk, and I thought, what if George just caught Count George's George saber, and he de-Georged him with his own George saber.
De-George. Just cut off his George right before everyone's eyes. Terrifying thing.
This is like the fucking Connor episode of Pokemon.
Yeah.
That was actually the most ridiculous thing that we've ever done. This will never top that. Oh yeah, if you just die, it's just you're fucking done in a bun.
Well,
son.
it wasn't me, so congratulations, asshole. Congratulations, George Hole.
Why are you like voluntarily playing as Palpatine?
Because it's fucking Palpatine.
You're right.
I saw Palpatine, and my mind immediately went to do it. Oh.
You done fucked it, son.
I love how he fucking autistically screeches when he dies.
I'm just not in the game.
Nope. It's okay.
I can't even drop in. I'm
George.
pushing start.
George Patine's got this.
This is just the fucking Adventures of Palpatine right now.
I would pay to play that game.
Not like Darth Sidious, just like straight up vanilla Palpatine.
It's better than fucking chocolate Palpatine. Shit's gross.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with like dark chocolate Palpatine, but like not milk chocolate Palpatine.
No, not
That's-
milk chocolate Palpatine. That shit's
I don't know why
disgusting.
people pay money for that. I got this, don't worry.
Okay, I got this. Oh, that's poisonous gas. I'm in pain.
Can't be possibly in more pain than I was recording this episode. Oh, we gotta do it together at the same time. That's fucking teamwork.
Yep. That's George work.
You helped and hindered at the same time.
Do it. Do it.
Alrighty, daddy do. Okay, anytime.
Alright, back as George Skywalker.
I miss the classic Lego look, like, of these games where it's like, there were only two haircuts, so you had to, like, pick between the two haircuts and, like, make it work.
Yeah.
And now, like, the new Lego games is, like, crazy-ass custom haircuts for every character, and it doesn't feel the same anymore.
Yeah, I agree. Feels too
Like,
done up.
I love Anakin just having a straight-up, like, parted female hair.
Yeah, that's
And
the way
then-
it was meant to be.
Obi-Wan just has the, like, generic, like,
Like chocolate ice cream head.
yeah. I always loved how he was ginger in Episode 3.
Where the fuck is R2?
But in Episode 1, he has the same, like, hair shape. It's just brown instead of ginger.
Yeah. So aren't you just retarded?
We're doing something wrong. Oh! That's what we're not
I think he
doing.
may be retarded.
Where is it? Where is that quote in the movie?
I think he is a she. And I think she is a George, like. Sorry, I thought I was thinking about that one on the back burner. General
Oh, those
George.
eyes are really unsettling.
General George. You're
That was a
shorter
really,
than I
like-
expected.
A lot of energy into that, like, go get 'em boys wave. He was like,
Your lightsaber's something I find addition to my collection. Okay, I'm out of here.
wow, that,
Alrighty.
like, bay
We'll
thing went straight up to the other
Continue this
side.
episode
We're at the
next
fucking
time.
end of the level!
We're like, okay, I guess we'll just let it run then, I guess. Fuck,
Yeah,
these
there's no
guys are fast.
sense in dragging this out any further. Is this a second? Yeah, this is the second level, right? Because that ship level was its own thing.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. We can cover two levels in one episode. I think this is literally it. Like, I think we just walk out here and it's like, you done, son. You got buns, son. Fuck! It is 4:30.
Yeah, it is.
I'm like hungry but tired.
And we're talking about AM.
Yeah, we are talking about AM. We stayed up way too long doing this shit. Yep. See,
Yeah.
if we had ended the episode there, how stupid would you have felt?
That would have felt pretty stupid.
Yeah. This is why you keep me around.
Another happy Georging.
Another Georging.
Too far?
Is it ever too far, Tim?
No.
If there was such thing as too far, I think we hit it multiple times this episode and it wasn't right there.
Anakin's just like pulling stuff out of his ass. Is he just not wearing pants right now? He's just in his underwear.
Why would he have like white guy legs from the waist down? Is he like in a Michael Jackson procedure like as we speak?
Yeah, just starting from the feet. Like working its way up.
What the fuck is? Oh, it's Padawan before.
Yeah.
Like, what do you call Anakin? And
They should do this one like Anakin, not granted the rank of Jedi Master.
I can see that as like a Sith post. Yeah, fucking, I'll battle you for $500,000.
We're not even there yet, son.
I know. If you got that reference, don't like and subscribe. Be real reaching though. I highly doubt anyone. Even at like the fucking height point.
Even like at the highest rank of the Illuminati, no one understands that reference.
Yeah. Alright, we'll see you guys next time.
Catch you cats on the George side of the galaxy.
Catch you George's next time.
Bye, George.
And I was just browsing on YouTube, and I came across this YouTube channel called Snack and Slash, and I really like the channel, but there was one thing that I think I would change.
I feel like I would have added way more unnecessary CGI bits to the background, and I also would have called it George and George.
That was
George.
Good job, George.
Good job, George.
Thanks, George.
George and George.
You wanna take this back to George Walker Ranch, and maybe we can get under the sheets and George each other?
I'll George the shit out of you, yeah.